tied up by Green. Throws it back up top. James puts up the three. Oh, it's good! LeBron James from downtown!
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Three Guys with Mike. I'm Little Man Joe and my friend William here, my good co-host. It's Thursday night by the time this gets out. And we just finished watching the Cardinals-Packers game. Probably one of the top 5 games of the year, if I'm being honest. Packers pulled this one out without 3 of their top receivers.
Yep.
And the Cardinals, to be honest, they really looked good all game. I think they only had one drive. And it was when they scored 21. That was the best drive they had all game.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was tough to come by. And keep in mind, the Packers did this without their defensive coordinator. He was the one who started the whole COVID swirl around that organization. So what do you think you saw out of this game? What do you a takeaway for the Cardinals and the Packers going forward?
For the Cardinals, I think it just shows how you have yet to play a full, complete game of just pure dominance. I think even against the Texans last week, they were still showing flashes early on of them starting off slow. This game, I kind of figured that this was going to be a really tough game for them once they started going 3-and-out early on in the game. But what I saw from this game, I saw that the better coach team won. I saw that the better team all around, the better roster won. I saw that the more physical and more dominant team won, which is kind of weird talking about the Packers because we haven't said this about them in the past 4 to 5 years. I think the team without their top receivers, with the better quarterback, and the team that pretty much played behind their offensive line and got them the win, I think they won. I think the Packers just looked really well-rounded. I think the defense made plays, had 3 turnovers all game. And Rodgers on the stat sheet really didn't pop out like you're used to. 22 for 37, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns. But the thing that really impressed me was that your 2 running backs had 151 yards combined. And again, A.J. Dillon, I said that A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones were going to be the keys to winning this game, especially with Davante Adams being out. Little do we know, 2 more receivers are going to be out. I did think that they were the key to win this game, and A.J. Dillon averaging 4.9 yards a carry is phenomenal, especially against this team, an Arizona Cardinals team that was undefeated, as we know. And looking at the Cardinals, Rondale Moore, I mean, he's still a really young player, but he had the worst game of his career. It wasn't really a muff punt, he just accidentally put his finger on the punt. Horrible, especially to see him not chasing after the ball, even though you see all around the NFL, when you're not too sure, just chase after the ball anyways. He didn't do that. Then on the following drive, he takes the ball out of the end zone and gets back to the 14-yard line. So you can tell he was in his own head. But again, he did make some plays that are on in the game. But one thing that I was kind of disappointed in, we know that the Arizona Cardinals defense was going to struggle with J.J. Watt being out for the year. It sucked, but I wanted to see Chandler Jones get more involved. His name wasn't really called that much. But again, when your offense was struggling like that, you have Kyler Murray, who's he really could do it all on the field. He has a great arm. He could run around. You can move the pocket with him, and that's something that I didn't see them do. They weren't really moving the pocket with him. They weren't giving him any design runs until later on in the game. And I think that's what started this offense slow, and that's kind of what got them in a big hole in the game.
Yeah, just an overall tough loss for the Cardinals. Big win for the Packers. If I'm being honest, this is their best win of the year.
I agree.
Besides the Bengals game. And I think the Cardinals will obviously learn from this. They're bound to lose one. I mean, no one can go perfect now in this NFL season, right? So moving forward, I think both teams possibly a playoff matchup, if I'm being honest.
I agree.
Now moving forward to the Sunday games, I'm going to go ahead and start off with...
But actually, also we kind of forgot to mention, at the end of the game, Kyler Murray was kind of limping off the field.
I feel like that was more of like a
him being pouty kind of thing?
Yeah, a little bit. But technically, I still don't think that ball was his fault.
Okay, yeah, I forgot to ask you, what do you think about that last ball?
I think it's A.J. Green.
I agree. I think some people just assumed he just gave up or was just confused. I think he was more so confused than him just not knowing the play. I just think that maybe the ball was going, he thought maybe the ball was going to a different receiver. I don't know. It just looked really off to me. But great play by former Eagle Rasul Douglas. Barely getting signed these past few weeks and making a big play to win them the game. So yeah, I thought it was a really big game.
Moving forward to the Colts-Titans game, right? Big division game on Sunday. Now, you're pretty big on the Colts, right?
Yeah.
Carson Wentz, think he's top 10 for the MVP?
No, I don't think
Not
so.
top 10? Not yet? At the pace he's going, I think he can be.
I think he can be.
Soon.
Okay.
Very soon. Now, this game is in Indianapolis. And as y'all know, last year, it was kind of a swap, right? I mean, this year, the Colts lost over there, but last year, it was opposite. When they went to Indiana, the Titans absolutely dominated them.
Yeah.
But this time around, I think it'll be different. if I'm being honest. I think the Colts are they start riding off the momentum from that rainy Sunday night game.
Yeah.
I think the Titans are too, because we all know they beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is a get-right game for the Colts. And I know they're running off wins, but I feel like they want to punch the Titans in the mouth and show them that we're still here, we're still gonna fight. And I'm being honest, I'll take the Colts in this game.
Really?
I will.
Taking the Colts. What do you think the Colts could do to win this game?
Obviously, run the ball more, a whole lot with Jonathan Taylor, and I think that they can attack the secondary with Michael Pittman. I think they have the O-line to protect the to keep the Titans' front line away from them as much. Not like the Chiefs could, because we all know Pat Mahomes running for his life.
Yeah.
And I think Carson Wentz can build through and find Pittman some touches, Paris Campbell, Zach Pascal. I think he get everybody involved.
I like your take here. I do think it's going to be a really close game. I think either way, either team you pick, you can't go wrong with it. But looking at the Colts, they're kind of starting to figure things out. I keep on saying rough start in training camp, having injuries, COVID, and stuff like that, having a rough start to the schedule. The Titans, I mean, I think when you think about the MVP, for me, I could say Derrick Henry is easily top 3 when you think about that that award. But I think the biggest thing for this Titans team is that your 2 receivers are finally starting to figure it out. A.J. Brown is getting healthy. He had a lot of big plays in that Monday night game against the Bills. And then Julio Jones, he's Julio Jones. If he's healthy, he's someone you have to watch out for on the field. But looking at this matchup, the first time these two teams played, the Titans won 25-16. Wentz, as we know, it's kind of an odd injury, but he had 2 sprained ankles, couldn't really move around, which is what he does best. He was really just standing around the pocket. I was watching that game really closely, and it was hard to watch. Watching him not being able to move, him getting hit all the time, it wasn't really working. Even screens were kind of hard to come by. It was really difficult for him to throw screens and stuff.
But they were keeping it close that game.
They were keeping it close. And there were a few times where Pascal, he dropped two passes that were like on the 1-yard line or in the end zone. So there's a lot of points to be left in that game. And one thing that I look at is Jonathan Taylor only had 11 touches. He had 10 rushing attempts and 1 catch. But he was averaging 6.4 yards per carry. So I think that he was still having good runs and still performing good. Just that Frank Reich just was kind of getting in his own head and coached himself out of the game. But I think for the Colts, obviously have to use Jonathan Taylor more. I think for the Colts, if you want to win this game, I think you gotta hold Derrick Henry to under 130 yards. He can have these chunk plays, but just don't let him get that one big run for 80 yards to just crush your defense's mentality. I think you just got to keep him in front of you, and I think the rest will play out. Force Ryan Tannehill to beat you. And again, we don't know if T.Y. Hilton is playing. He got injured 2 weeks ago, but I think if he does play, that's going to add a whole other element to this offense. As we know, he could affect the game in the short passing game, intermediate, and the deep passing game. So with that, I'm going to go with the Colts. I think they're trending upwards, and I do think that they know the severity of this game. You can't fall down 2 games to this Titans team and then expect to win the division. So I'm going to go with the Colts in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough battle for sure out in Indy. Another division matchup we have here is the Cleveland Browns and the Steelers. Now both teams are injury riddled, but I feel like that matters more for the Browns. They're not going to be without. They're going to be without Baker. They'll be without probably both their running backs because Nick Chubb doesn't look like he's training.
Well, is Baker playing?
Baker, no, I'm pretty sure they're going to keep him out another week. I've heard a whole bunch of things about his shoulder, like a partial tear and stuff like that. He'll probably be out another week, I'm pretty sure. And with the Steelers, obviously missing Juju, but I feel like that team's slowly coming together and finding their identity. And I feel like Najee Harris, this is going to have a big game. I feel like this is going to be another breakout game for him, maybe 10 plus receptions, over 100 rushing yards. I don't know, but I feel like they'll find a way. And I feel like with the Steelers again, Jay Conklin's not going to play. He's trending towards not playing it once again, and TJ Watt is going to be dominant for them. I feel like the way they win this game is creating turnovers, and I feel like TJ Watt can for sure do that. And he's probably one of the best in the league at doing it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think this game is kind of going to be a slugfest. I think it's going to be a really low-scoring game. I think both defenses are going to play great, and they're going to be the story of this game, whoever wins this game. I think Odell and Jarvis Landry are supposed to be playing in this game. As you know, they got hurt on Thursday night last week.
Yeah.
But regardless of if Baker if Baker plays or not, I still don't see this team winning. I'm still going to take the Steelers. Again, how you were saying, Najee Harris is a great running back. He just doesn't have the offensive line to help him out. But I think the Cleveland Browns, their bread and butter on offense is their 2 running backs. That's what wins them the games. I don't think Baker Mayfield has won them really any games this year just purely off of him. I think, again, I keep on saying it, They win these games when Baker is in the backseat. He's a part of the offense, not when he's the driving force. And I think without Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, I think it's going to be really hard to win. And I'm taking the Steelers in a low-scoring game. So
Agreed. Very, very well said.
Thank you. Yeah.
Another division matchup. Jesus. Third one of the day already of these predictions. Is the Buccaneers and the Saints. Now, this one doesn't have as much hype as last year because Drew Brees isn't there, as we all know. Saints are kind of iffy to me still. I can't really tell if I can take that team serious or not. But with the Buccaneers coming in, I'm pretty sure we all know that Tom Brady wants revenge. Even though he beat them in the playoffs, we all know he played his worst 2 games last year against them to start the season and on that horrific Sunday night game.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's only because Drew Brees was the driving force of that offense. And I feel like, this is also a revenge game for Jameis Winston, playing his old team. So you never know how could it go. And that defense for the Saints absolutely showed out on Monday night. Demario Davis had, I think, 13 total tackles, 4 TFLs, 2 sacks, something like that. Just absolutely unblockable. But that's a different O-line. That's Seattle's O-line. This Buccaneers O-line is top 5 in the league. It's going to make it hard for them to make plays like that. And Tom Brady is probably the smartest player in the league, as we all know. So he's going to find ways to beat you. And I think with Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, talent everywhere, he's going to make it happen this time. And I'm taking the Bucs in the close game.
In a close game, you think, what's the score?
I'll go 24-20.
Oh, really? Okay, I mean, no, that's not a sarcastic, but okay. I agree with a lot of things that you said. I think the Buccaneers are playing like the best team in the NFL right now, if I do say so myself. I think the way this offense has looked dominant all game, the way they've been blowing teams out, the way they made Justin Fields look like how he really is a first-year quarterback coming into a bad team. They really turned the ball. They caused a lot of turnovers last week. As you know, Mike Evans had 3 touchdowns last week. Just this team is really fun to watch. And now that I'm watching Tom Brady more and more, I don't hate him. I hated him when he was with the Patriots, but now that he's more himself.
Part of that play into Jeremiah.
Oh yeah, everything that I hate revolves around Jeremiah some way. But I'm talking about the way Tom Brady is more himself now, the way he jokes around more with his teammates, he's open in more interviews and stuff like that. I'm starting to like Tom Brady. I don't hate the guy anymore.
Starting to think that Bill Belichick was kind
of toxic.
Holding him back a little bit.
Maybe that's a discussion for another day. But again, I'm still gonna go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Saints are a good football team, a well-structured football team. They just don't have the explosiveness on offense to keep up with the Saints. I think Alvin Kamara is gonna have to be the workhorse like he is in every other game. But I think it's just gonna be too hard with the weapons that you have on the outside. Tampa Bay's secondary is depleted and they are really hurt. But I still think it's going to be hard for Jameis Winston to maneuver the pocket with that defensive line coming at him. I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I will agree. I'm moving on to this Sunday night game.
Okay.
Right, probably the most hyped game I've seen all over social media. A lot of NFL analysts
besides
this
Thursday
game.
night.
Besides the Thursday night game, obviously. This is probably the second to that. This is the Cowboys and the Vikings. Now, this team last year beat them with Anthony Dalton. But different year, obviously. I think the Vikings are more high-powered. Defense is way better than last year, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Cowboys are a whole different team from last year. But the biggest question in this game, we're still not sure if Dak's going to play. That calf strain's been bothering him. And I'm not sure I want to go to Minnesota on Halloween night and play with Cooper Rush as my starting quarterback, if I'm being honest, okay? So either way, what happens, I think this wide receiver core has to show out. I literally don't think anybody on that Vikings secondary can guard Gallup, Lamb, or Amari Cooper. Hell, I'll even say Cedric Wilson if they throw him in there. I still don't think
he was making big plays against the Patriots.
Making big plays. I still think that he could be a trade value at some point, him or Gallup, if I'm being honest, for a top defensive player coming up to the trade deadline. With that being said, I think the Cowboys have to stop Dalvin Cook. I think they have, I think they can pressure Kirk Cousins, which they've done well all year. Randy Gregory has to show out again. I think he's a top 5 pass rusher this year in the league. I mean, I've seen him get after, just move tackles like it's nothing. But I think the key to winning this game is Zeke. Zeke and Pollard. Last year, Pollard went off on this team. Last time Zeke played them, I think he only had like 20 yards on 13 carries. On that, you remember that Sunday night game, right? Like 2 years ago. So I think it comes down to Zeke. Most importantly, is Dak going to play? If he does play, I'll take him. If Cooper rushes in, it's going to be a lot harder than I think it is. But I'll go ahead and save my team with the win. Because I trust my defense over theirs.
That's true. I do like that point. I call BS when it comes to Dak not playing. I think Dak is one of the toughest players in the NFL. And again, he even said so after the Patriots game that it isn't really anything to worry about, and it's just another thing for reporters to write in their headlines. And I think that Jerry Jones and Skip Bayless and everybody like that anyone whose name is really a big part of the Cowboys. I think they're just trying to make it to where it sounds like Dak isn't playing, but we all know he's gonna play. I think he's gonna play.
Well, he said it's. Well, these are his words. He said, "quote," and I quote, that it's not really up to him.
Dak said that?
Fully, yeah. Like, it's not really.
Okay.
It's not gonna come down to his decision.
Okay, but I could see that, but I still gonna predict this game like Dak Prescott is gonna play. Dallas is looking very complete. As I keep on saying, Dallas is the most complete team on offense, having 2 great running backs and a great offensive line. You can't really stop the receivers at all, and Dak is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. When you look at the Vikings, this team is really underrated. Again, I wasn't really big on them coming into the season, but looking at how they played in the last month, you have to kind of fear this team. Again, I'm aware of Kirk Cousins, his record in primetime games. It's not the best, but Dalvin Cook has only played 4 games this year. His last game against the Panthers was his best of the season so far. 140 yards, a touchdown, having his stamp all over that football game. But one thing that is going to be interesting, I'm surprised you didn't mention this, is Justin Jefferson versus Diggs. I think that's going to be the matchup to watch. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see if Diggs sticks on Justin Jefferson all game or he moves over to...
Jefferson got him last year a lot.
But again, that was a different...
Yeah, exactly.
Diggs just looks completely different this year. Not only with his picks, but I'm talking about the way he just thinks. You could tell he has that swag and he thinks he's that guy. And I think for the Vikings, the way you win this game, like Little Man said, Dalvin Cook is the key to win this game. But you have 2 very, very good edge rushers for the Vikings. Griffin and... Daniel Hunter. Jesus Christ. I think they're really, really, really good. And I think that's something that you want to make Dak do is move around. You want to chase him off the edge. You want to make him move around, like this, as we know, with his calf injury. But that's where your tackles come in for the Cowboys. Again, Collins is coming back from his suspension that he served for 5 games.
It's a good thing you mentioned that because there's been reports saying that they're going to move him to left guard. And keep
really?
Steele at right tackle.
He's just playing.
That's what he played in college, was guard.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that shapes out. And as we know, Smith, he's great. He's one of the best offensive tackles in the NFL. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting. I do not think the Vikings secondary could keep up with the Cowboys offense and their receivers. I'm still going to go with the Cowboys, but I'm not surprised if the Vikings pull the upset with Kirk Cousins balling out.
I won't be surprised at all, if I'm being honest. So, now... I have 2 more games left before we get into rapid fire. Now, the second game I put here, because both of these teams, one is riding high, and one is working off of one of the most humiliating losses that they've had this year, obviously. Out of their 2 losses. It's the Patriots and the Chargers. Last year, this team absolutely obliterated them in SoFi Stadium.
Yeah.
What was it, like 45-3, 45-0?
Yeah.
Something like that. So if you don't think Herbert and the Chargers are coming back for revenge, and the Patriots don't have blood on their hands, you're crazy. So for that reason... I think the Chargers, Brandon Staley against a rookie quarterback and Mac Jones, he's going to make things very hard. That defense is going to fly around. They have a great secondary, great D-line. I think Joey Bosa is going to have a great game this Sunday, and I'm taking the Chargers by 14.
14. Okay, and also let's not forget that the Chargers came off of a huge loss in Baltimore, and they're coming off a bye week. I think that's a big advantage for them. I think the Patriots do look really, really well. Mac Jones has played his 2 best games of the season, I think, against the Cowboys and against the Jets. It was just the Jets. But I still think that it's something to be said. This offense is kind of finding their footing. And I did say that I wanted to see Mac Jones take more shots down the field. I was kind of tired of Bill not really showing off what his quarterback could do. And even if he makes some mistakes, I still want to see what Mac Jones could do passing the ball deep. I think that's going to continue this week. But I think Justin Herbert and this offense is really, really just way too good. I think Austin Eckler was placed on the injury report, so it's kind of iffy if he's going to play. But I still think he's going to play. Regardless, you still have a great offensive line. Keenan Allen is still really good. That's going to be a good matchup with J.C. Jackson. You have Mike Williams, who is still playing phenomenal. And I just think that this Chargers team is way too well-rounded. They're at home off a bye week, and I think that they're going to really show out. And I do agree with Lumen. I think it's going to be a 2-possession game. I think unless Mac Jones could air the ball out and put pressure on this defense, I don't think it's going to be close.
Which I haven't seen him do all year except for when it's broken coverage. So yeah, I think we got the Chargers.
That was a nice shot. That was a good shot.
Huh?
That was a good shot.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the Monday night game. Yeah, we put this here because also the Chiefs really need a bounce back. I feel like this team really needs something to get them going, and they need to use this game. National television, no better night on Monday night to do it.
At home.
At home. And then the Giants, I mean, yes, they beat the Panthers. I get that. The Panthers were heavily overrated ever since they won those 3 games.
Yeah.
And then moving forward, without Saquon, without Galladay, I still don't even know those 2 are playing. And if not, I still won't have them over the Chiefs. I know the Chiefs' defense is bad, but I still can't see Daniel Jones just airing the ball out. I mean, they might have to bring out some trickery. Him catching the balls, maybe a Philly special play. I don't know, anything to get them going, but I'm still taking the Chiefs in a get-right game. Mahomes will have a big bounce back. Hopefully he plays because of his head, but I haven't heard any reports saying that he will.
He said he's fine.
I hope him, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce show why they're one of the best trios in the NFL. So I have the Chiefs by another 2-possession game.
Okay. I'm going to disagree. I think it's going to be a close game, and the reason for that, I think it's going to be really close to start off the game. But I do think that the Chiefs are going to find their way in the second and third quarter, and they're going to seem to kind of pull away. But when you look at this Chiefs team, I agree with Little Man. It is a get-right game. I do think that you have played horribly as a team. All season, there really hasn't been a game where I'm convinced that this team was really the best in the NFL. And the good news and the bad news is that you beat yourself. But that's also part of the good news. Good news is that it's fixable. All of Patrick Mahomes' receivers have dropped passes. But again, that's not a part of that team. That's not something that you think of when you see them. So I think that's something that can get fixed. Patrick Mahomes, everyone is saying that it's a no-brainer. He's having the worst year of his career. And a lot of people are saying that he's washed. As Patrick put in our thumbnail, I do not think Patrick Mahomes is washed. I think that he's in his own head, but he's still playing phenomenal. He still has great stats this year. So I don't understand why people are making it seem like he's playing horribly. His turnovers are horrible, but you cut that away and he's still top 3 for MVP if you really think about it. And I think my biggest thing with this Chiefs team is the way they were thinking going into the year. I do like their moves to transition and get a better offensive line, but what I don't like, and I said this in the video for the Super Bowl recap, I said that I wanted to see them follow the footsteps of kind of the Broncos with Peyton Manning. Again, they kind of had the same characteristics as a team. Peyton Manning and the Broncos offense was carrying that team, playing great, but it really wouldn't win them games when it mattered. But now you look at them, they revamped their defense, had one of the greatest defenses of all time, and they won the Super Bowl just 2 years after that. That's something that I want to see the Chiefs do. I want to see them to make moves on defense. You know, their defensive backs weren't always the best in the following years, but I think that could be fixed by you have a great defensive line, you have better linebackers. But they really didn't seem to make any moves, so that's my problem with that. That's why I'm not sold on them going deep in the playoffs, because they still have that same philosophy, thinking that they're going to play their style of football and no one's going to figure it out and they're just going to win. I think that it's a horrible recipe for success. I think they have to kind of reinvent themselves, and I think it's going to start this week. I think they're going to start playing better, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Mike Hughes isn't the answer. Daniel Sorensen should have been gone long before that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to give some other guys some minutes. Just get them out some of those people in the rotation. Because my God, Mike Hughes, Daniel Sorensen deserve practice squad money, right? Yeah. I'm sorry to say that, but they are just awful. I mean, we all seen those pictures of Tyrann Mathieu throwing his hands up in the air, like, what are they doing?
Yeah. That's
so, yeah, you think it's a close game, right? You said?
I think it's going to be a close game, then Chiefs are going to pull away.
I respect that.
But speaking of the Tyrann Mathieu thing, I really don't like what he's doing. Like, I understand
putting his players on the spot.
I understand. It isn't a good look, especially when you're losing those games. You know, everyone says when you're winning, it's not a problem. But I still think that even when they were winning games, I had a problem with that. With Tyrann Mathieu kind of just every play that wasn't going right, just kind of sticking his teammates out to dry.
Like, you have to think he's the person getting those calls, like through his helmet.
Yeah.
He has to be the defensive leader. Mm-hmm. I mean, no one else on that defense I see calling plays other than him, right? So now moving on into the rapid fire games. You know, I won't lie. I mean, I know we have some bad teams here, but I feel like these can make for some pretty good games.
It's the NFL. A lot of games.
NFL. A lot of them. Yeah. A lot of division games. So rapid fire. We got the Panthers and Atlanta.
Oh yeah. I think Atlanta is really coming off of a big win. Kyle Pitts is kind of finding his footing. We don't know what's going on with Sam Darnold. He's playing back to earth. He dropped down back to earth. This team doesn't look good, and I'm gonna go with the Falcons.
Yeah, I have the Falcons too. I think Kyle Pitts is gonna have another breakout game. Calvin Ridley's gonna get going, and whoever starts for the Panthers, I literally have no faith at this point, if I'm being honest. The Dolphins and the Bills.
Bills, no brainer. I think they're coming off of a bye week, another big loss. They're one play away from being 5-1 or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I think that they're gonna get right. And we saw what happened. They're playing Dolphins, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
We saw what happened the first time they played them. So
Yeah, the first time I played them, I know Jacoby Brissett was the starter, but I still don't think they'll put up a whopping 0 points against the Bills. But yes, I still have the Bills at home. Now, the Eagles and Lions. I've seen a lot of people say that the Lions will get their first win against Philly. What do you think about that?
I realized that once I saw this game on the schedule last week. I realized the Lions are coming back and they're going to win their first game. Watching the Eagles get blown out in Vegas, watching the Lions be competitive against the Rams, who are really good. The Lions have looked competitive in every single game, or nearly every single game. They've been close. They're trending the right direction. The Eagles, they've had the same problems week 1 and haven't figured them out. Haven't solved anything. I'm going with the Lions.
Yeah, I think the Lions are coming together as a team. Dan Campbell's got them in competitive in every game, like you said. He's pulling out all the stuff out of his hat. So I'll take the Lions too. I'll go ahead and agree with you, even though you didn't take your Eagles.
Yeah.
And the Bengals and the Jets.
I think the Bengals, they're coming off of the biggest win of their season. Biggest win in a few years for them.
Past 5 years.
Yeah, in a few years for them. Jamar Chase is looking amazing. I'm going to go with the Bengals.
Yeah, but I mean, when you have Mike White starting at quarterback, I'm pretty sure the Bengals win, even if Joe Burrow didn't play. The Rams and Texans. You know, to me, the Texans are another competitive team.
Yeah.
They like to keep it really close in the beginning of games.
Yeah, but I'm still going to go with the Rams. I think the Rams, I was thinking about this at work. I was thinking about all the top teams, and I think that the Rams are really the best structured team in the NFL. When you look at every kind of spot on their team, I think the Rams are the best, and I think their head coach is top 3, maybe even the best head coach in the NFL right now. So I'm going to go with the Rams.
Bold statement there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to take the Rams too. And not a lot of people are saying this, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. I mean, I think Cooper Kupp deserves some MVP notification.
I think Offensive Player of the Year.
Offensive Player of the Year?
Yeah.
That's as high as you'll go? Just not MVP, huh?
Not MVP. I think MVP.
Yes, to go.
I don't want to sound like that person, but I think it's a quarterback and running back.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. I mean, I can't even name the last receiver to win it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody knows. The Jags and the Seahawks.
I'm going to go with the Jags, actually. I think the Seahawks, I don't like what they've been showing with Geno Smith.
Trevor in Seattle?
I don't like what they've been showing with Geno Smith. Lockett hasn't really been a factor in any of those games since Russell Wilson has gone out. DK Metcalf, after that one catch on the 5th play of the game, wasn't a factor either. The running game isn't really going well. I think that Trevor Lawrence is going to have some late game heroics, and they're going to get behind James Robinson, and they're going to figure it out. Coming off of a bye week as well.
Perfect the way you said that. I think they'll ride off Trevor and James Robinson heavily this game.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Seahawks, yeah, when the run doesn't work, you think they shy away from it, right? I mean, just let Geno sling it. You got to give Tyler Lockett some looks. I don't know where he's been since week 3. And DK only had 2 catches. Besides that one 84-yard catch, they show him bullying Marshawn Lattimore all over the field. But even that touchdown could have been offensive PI. Other than that, Marshawn Lattimore had him in the Duffy bag. Yeah. Right? I mean, where was that run game when you wanted to run it all the time in Super Bowl 48? I mean,
I agree.
Washington at Denver. Now, both these teams need to win desperately, in my opinion. I mean, we all saw this coming with the Broncos, right? I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone can guess they were frauds. But Washington, one of those surprising things. They need Ryan Fitzmagic so bad right now. It's kind of hurting me. Taylor Heineke, I get he's got that dog in him, right? He's gonna make some big plays. He'll put his body on the line. It's just he's not the answer. I mean, they haven't implemented Curtis Samuel in this offense as well as I thought they were going to.
Well, he's also been hurt.
He's been hurt too. Antonio Gibson's been hurt. His O-line's been shaking up. I mean, they were one of the best O-lines last year with Brandon Scherf leading the charge. And with Denver, they're for sure looking for a desperate win. I mean, I think Jerry Jeudy's coming back this week. Yeah. So I feel like they'll put it all on the Washington football team, and I think they'll pull out a win. At home.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to go with the Washington football team. I think that Heineke's been playing well enough to win you some games in certain instances, but he's also lost you some games that you saw last. Bonehead decisions to give himself up short of the goal line last week. I think that he is playing well, though. He's always keeping his team around the opposite team. He's always keeping them close. He's never really in position to win those games, but he's always within about 10 points of each game, and he's always playing good. I just think that they're the more explosive team. I think this is the perfect week to get right. You're playing against an offense that really isn't that explosive. The only thing you really have to worry about is their running game. So I'm going to go with the Washington football team, and I think they're going to improve to 3-4. Or 3-5, whatever.
Do you think they win by? Think it's a close game?
I think it's a really close game, like a field goal.
Field goal?
Field goal game, yeah.
Alright, I'll go ahead and agree with you there. Actually, no. I had the Broncos. I had the Broncos by a field goal. Yeah, I won't say a blowout.
Okay, I agree with you.
All right, moving on to probably one of the most boring games of this Sunday, the 49ers and Bears. Justin Fields actually really looked terrible.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if Matt Nagy's the problem, if I'm being honest, at this point. I just think it takes time to develop people. They gave up on Mitch. They gave up on a whole bunch of people before that.
Yeah.
And Justin Fields, everyone says he's the answer. It's just one of those things where it's cooking in the pot. And with the Niners at their quarterback situation, Jimmy G is, I can't say nothing about him. I've been saying that he's overrated. I think his defense has carried him and a lot of big playmakers on his offense. And he hasn't really thrown George Kittle the ball.
George Kittle hasn't been playing?
He's hurt. But even before that, he's having probably one of the worst years in his career. And I think the only way moving forward, at this point, I don't think there's any hope for them to make a playoff run. So I think you just ride with Trey Lance the rest of the year.
I don't think that Kyle Shanahan has had the spark that he's really provided the past few years. He hasn't really had a signature game of just him out-coaching the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that Trey Lance's injury really does suck for this team because your defense isn't playing as well as you thought they were. And Jimmy G, although he's injured, he did handle himself pretty decently in that game. But again, it was really raining, it was wet, and a few of those balls looked pretty funny coming out of his hand. The way it would just slip out and just float through the air. I thought it was a really hard game to watch. And I think that the Bears are going to pull it out. I really do think that Justin Fields is going to bounce back from last week. I think that it's kind of night and day in the competition that he's going to be facing. I think the Niners are they're kind of on fire. They're kind of, just the opposite of being on fire. They're just
stale.
Yeah.
Stagnant.
Yeah.
So far, as that goes, I think Week 8 is going to be very fun. Halloween night is going to be some Sunday Night Football on Halloween night. I mean, Sunday all around on Halloween just sounds very good to me. That's almost the equivalent. No, I won't say NBA Christmas games. I won't say that. That's just too exciting for me. But yeah, this concludes Week 8, our predictions. We are due for a very exciting Thursday night game. Going to be a great Sunday night game. Good games all around. And
let us know what your upset of the week is going to be. I'm interested to hear what you guys think.
I think it just happened.
I don't think that was an upset.
I think it's an upset because they're missing the three receivers.
I picked it correctly. My bad. Maybe you should pick better teams.
I said the Packers don't want to win. They have to run the ball. 31 rushes combined, 151 yards.
Yeah.
That's the key to winning right there.
Yeah, you still picked the Cardinals.
Yeah, I did.
So, yeah, just let us know, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share. Let us know what we can improve on, what you want to see implemented into the show. Thank you, guys.
It even sucks.